Hey guys, it's Fortune here. I'm back today with another 7 Days to Die video. I want to introduce you to the Alpha 7 and 7.1 update starting features, the customize your world features, I guess you could say. And I also want to talk a little bit about the stealth mechanics that they've implemented. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into a game that I have started for the cooking tutorial that I'm going to do in my next video. But I wanted to get this out because a lot of people have been complaining about how difficult the game is, and they don't quite maybe understand what everything is that's going on down here. So I'm only going to talk about the new stuff, which the first thing is drop on death and drop on quit. Now everything here is set to default with the exclusion of enemy spawning, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the drop on death is defaulted to everything, and you can change that actually to nothing now, or to tool belt only, or to backpack only. So if you don't want to drop everything or anything on death, then you can change that. So if you drop something though in the game, I wanted to tell you that you actually do drop a backpack, a physical backpack that has an icon on the map. You can easily find it and go and loot it very quickly. You can use the take all feature to get everything back in your inventory. It's going to be a jumbled mess, but just grab it and hightail it out of the area. The drop on quit is basically the same thing. Whenever you quit, wherever it is that you log out in the world, your backpack will drop at your feet. Now, the backpack will, on death, will only be viewable by you for an amount of time, which I honestly can say I don't know what that is. I do know that eventually other people will be able to see it, so you do want to make sure you get back there and grab it. The drop on quit, again, I don't know the value of time that it has. It might be something that only you will ever be able to see. I haven't looked too much into that because when I've been doing my run-throughs, I've been turning everything off just to make it a little bit easier for me to get through and learn the new features. The damage given is how much damage you hit, and the damage received is how much a hit hurts you. So when you start the game, it defaults both of them to medium, but you can customize each one of them to very low, which is 50%, low 75, medium 100, high 150, and very high is all the way up to 200%. So you can really deal a lot of damage and in turn really not take a lot of damage, or vice versa. Now the enemy memory, because this is a stealth-based game now, the mobs will actually remember that they are aware of you. After a certain amount of time, they'll forget about you and wander away. Now this is real-time minutes, keep in mind, and it defaults to 2, but you can change it anywhere from 1 to 5. Again, the enemy spawning, I have disabled, but you can change it to very low, which is 50%, all the way up to very high, which is 150% of their normal spawn rate. So this is something that you can use to make the game a lot more easier if you choose to. On page 2, we have a craft timer and a loot timer. Now let's talk about the craft timer really quick. It defaults to normal. You can completely turn it off, or you can make it go considerably faster if you want to. The craft timer now, whenever you make something in your crafting window, everything has a time value to it. Anywhere from a few seconds, maybe a second, all the way up to a minute and a half, possibly more. I haven't crafted a gun yet in this game, so I don't know. I do know that the crossbow takes about a minute and a half. The loot timer is the time it takes you to get into containers, bags, garbage bags, trash cans, cars, corpses. You can turn that off completely or make it go faster, but it defaults to normal. I do know that stuff can take just 1 second, and some things like the safe, I believe now takes 20 seconds. On Alpha 7, it took 30 seconds. And all of this other stuff is the same as it was. I am just going to put a password in here very quickly, and I'm going to jump into my game, and we're going to talk a little bit about stealth. Remember, I do have enemies off to make it a little bit easier for you. Now we're talking about stealth. There's a few things I want to go over as quick as possible for you. If you look at the map, you're going to see some yellow icons. These yellow icons on the map actually represent wildlife. Now these are rabbits. If I were, say, up here or up here and there were deer and pigs around, these little yellow circles are going to be a little bit bigger. Now I want to show you the stealth mechanic as far as sneaking. So when you crouch down, you'll see that the corners of your monitor are going to go a little bit dim. It's kind of just a little bit more of a way to tell you that you're sneaking. And you'll also see this eye here. And when you first go into sneak mode, you'll see that you're undetected. And that will fade away, even though I am still undetected. If I were in the nearish vicinity of a zombie, and he slightly became aware of me, his icon on the map is going to, by default, but he has no idea I'm there, it's going to be a green sort of guitar pick looking icon, and you'll see them on the map in a radius around you. It's not too big. That's probably about as far away as it's going to go. If they get a sense of me either by smell, sound, or line of sight, they'll turn yellow. And if I'm crouched and they sense me, it will actually say sensed, and you'll see on the mini map that they turn yellow. Now if they turn red, if I were to do something stupid, and you see the little white circles coming out from my icon, and if they hear that, it will turn red, and instead of saying undetected or sensed, it will actually say hunted. At that point, they're physically after you. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you was, well, I wanted to tell you about the smell. You all know about line of sight, they can see you. You all know about sound, they can hear you. The smell is basically meat based. If you have a meat product, raw or cooked, they can smell it. Everything has a sort of, say, percentage of smell or a level of smell. Now if you're going to have meat on you, you're going to want to have boiled meat. And I want to show you that. And you boil meat in a cooking pot in a campfire, which I'm going to show you in my next video. And I'm not going to go into it now. But the boiled meat is the least stinky meat that there is. And I believe that the grilled meat and the charred meat are very stinky. And of course the raw meat is going to be very smelly. Now they can smell it on you, and they will come for you. So if you can, keep it in your backpack. But even more than that, if you can, just don't have it on you at all. Keep it at your base. So I've just grabbed a stick, and now I'm grabbing some grass. And now I'm going to go find a rock. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, I did spawn in the sand biome, and there are no trees. However, we're okay, because there's old wood in the desert. But what you need to do is you need to get yourself a weapon / tool to defend / tear stuff down with. The stone axe is what you're going to have to make your first day in the game. To do that, you grab a rock off the ground, you turn it into stone, you turn that stone into small rock, you in turn turn that small rock into a sharp stone. We're going to grab that, and we punched this little bramble bush down here, if you saw. And these are everywhere. And you get your stick from that. You only need one. And you punch the grass down, and you get your blade of tall grass. You need to turn your tall grass into plant fibers. You probably know how to do this, just in case you've always just bypassed it and went right for the pickaxe. I'm just showing you how to do it real quick. This is going to give you a stone axe. And the stone axe is in this configuration. You hit craft, it takes 5 seconds. You see the progress bar going through, and you grab your axe. Now, if I were anywhere but a desert biome, I would actually go ahead and chop some trees down. Except I wouldn't actually chop some trees down. I would dig the dirt out from underneath it, hoping to get clay. You need clay, you need stone, you need sand. So if you can get to sand, you don't need the first day or maybe even the second day, but you will eventually need it. And remember that you can get sand from the desert, from the desert biome, of course, or from any body of water. There's a 1 block, not even a square anymore, there's just a 1 block sand layer around every bottle of water. Now, I wanted to show you real quick the loot timer that we talked about. You can see there it took me time. A portion of the stealth that you need to be aware of is if you look closely at my icon. I'm going to hit the take all button and listen very closely. So you hear what sounds like glass breaking or cans shifting around, and you could see a little radius of white lines emitting from me in a circle. That's a noise level. Hitting the take all button is not good in the game if you have any zombie near you remotely. Now what you want to do instead is just keep your finger on the shift button and click, and it'll just take it all into your inventory. I think that's it. Remember, sight, sound, smell, crouch, move around. Don't do stuff like banging on stone, because you'll see that the noise that it emits is quite loud. Now this is sand, so it's muffled. But you can see the sound coming out when I hit things. It seemed like this was the loudest. So you don't really want to be doing stuff like this if you have zombies on you. You kind of want to get away from them first. The next video that I have is going to be showing you all about cooking in the campfires and glass making in the forge. I'm going to try to get that out as soon as possible, but this has been the stealth introduction and the new options features. Also really quick, I just wanted to say that when you start out in a new world, you do get what the pimps are calling a lunch pack, which is always going to be 1 bottle of water and a can of chili, which if you're in a stealth game, chili probably isn't what you want to be eating. With that, I say goodbye, and I'll see you next time.